Hello everybody, my name is Christian Quick and welcome back to another video. Today we are going to be continuing the sand tiller, and we want it to specifically turn sand into sand farmland, and we need to make the farmland for the sand farmland. So to do that, we are going to have to know what is a farmland block. So I can look up the farmland block, and it's got a bunch of stuff nearby, and it extends block. So that means we don't have to look into the extender or anything. We can just have it extend the block. So first, let us take let's take our cement here, very basic block here, and then let's back this up with the other one. All right, and then here we are going to be calling this sand land. So it's farmland, but it's sand farmland. And I just feel like calling it Sandland for short. Since we are going to be using it as one word, it says replace with Sandland as two words, more actions, save to dictionary. And so every time you type out a fantasy word, it's not going to do anything crazy. Do I want it to emit in the light or anything like that? No, I don't want it doing that. So we're going to go all the way back to where it says this, the soil. And now we can make our Sandland block. So new Java class, Sandland, in here. And then we can copy and paste this. Control C, Sandland, Control V. And there is something in this block that we want to be able to use. So let's first fix the problem. And then to make sure that I don't forget about it, let's bring it up here. Sandland block. Awesome. Perfect. So, um, one thing that I want to bring up is we need to look up dirt. And there is a couple reasons why. Get placement state, random tick. If you set to dirt, so basically if a block stands on top of the dirt, it it'll change to dirt. So even if this is we don't want it to do that. It'll turn your farmland into dirt, like when it gets destroyed. So we want this to just turn into sand, because that is what we are going to be doing crazy. So let's turn this set to sand to set to, yeah, we'll set the dirt to set to sand. And then what we are going to want to do is do this. So this is just to get into the habit of following a method and then using its name properly. So, or at least make it look more proper. Dirt, there is one more result up here, and it is going to be blocks dot sand. All right, so it seems that everything is just about right. Neighbor, place at, outline, schedule tick, tick, landed upon. This is when an entity from a fall distance lands on it. Set to sand, it will set it to sand. Set to sand, has crop. And so this, in a normal situation, we're going to explain this in a bit. This is going to be the entire reason that we're going to need to make a part 3 video after this. So basically what this would make sense to me is that it says, does it have crop? You can put a crop block, a stem block, or an attached stem block on top of it, and then I'm going to have to explain a problem that may come up for that. So, moving on from that, we have the farmland and our sandland. So now, let us do the same thing. So instead of doing cube on all sides, so we're not going to go into our data gen, we are going to need to make a brand new thing. And if you want to go to the bottom, there is your yarn. So go 1, 2, 3, and then you can look at all the files I'm looking at. But we are going to look at Minecraft, and we are going to look at everything that has to do with farmland. So we got farmland, and then let's close it up. Oop, let's bring it back up to where I need it. In block states, we're going to bring this in here, and we are going to call it Sandland. Okay, so this model, Control C, let's type in Minecraft. We can do this and just copy and paste it without thinking about it when we are in the block states. We can't do that with the models now. So, farmland, and then we need to turn farm into sand. So now we need to make a model for block called Sandland, 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 Sandland. Notice how they're all the same. So it looks like I only have to make one model up, but this last one, Sandland Moist. This, just like the last video, it was talking about the state changes and what age it's in. This one is talking about how moisturized it's in. If you want to go through the pain of making it look extra, like as it's getting, quotes like wetter, it's absorbing more moisture, you could change it in every single level, but Minecraft doesn't let it get moist, so dirt looks really dry and then it gets absorbed in the water, and that's when it reaches 7, its highest phase, and then it changes. But you could technically just have it all the way, but we are not going that crazy. I'm not going that crazy. You can go that crazy. Just for the heck of it, let's add the block state before I forget. And the block is going to be called, gotta put a comma in there, sand land, one word, and then here we're gonna call it Sandland. All right, so that is the lang. Now we need to make the model. So let's go in here. So we know that there are two models that we are basically looking for, block models. So farm, and then we will get the farmland, farmland moist, and the template. I'm going to explain the template in a second. Let's do the same thing that I did last time, where we copy everything in here, and then we're going to change the name and then change them as we please when we get into them. So, first one is farmland. So now this is the basic one. Sandland. This is going to be the unmoist version. So here we want the so there is let's get into the template actually. Template is talking about so you know how like the sides of the block have their 16 by 16 texture, but notice how like on farmland it actually goes down 1 pixel. So on the upscale, you can tell that the north, south, west, and east, it's talking about how there is that like one difference. The up and down is still 0, 0, 16, but these ones are 1 unit because they're missing a pixel. Here's a better way to explain it. So you have an X, Y, and Z, and your X and Y. So the block, like if I was looking straight down like at a block, it's got the 4 sides, and so either way, it's 16 by 16. But going straight up, it's missing a texture. So if you want to make custom textures, you can do that any way you want. Now, I could make a custom template, and I can change the particle to sand, but I'm not that crazy about it. So I don't mind it being dirt. If you want to do that, you would just have to make a new template, but I just wanted to explain that. Another thing is there is your top of your block, known as up, the downside of your block, which is the very bottom. Uh, so then you have the north facing side, south, east, and west. Um, these are all normal, but you can see how these are all north north, south south, and it says that there is dirt, and then there's something called top. So when we go into our farmland, actually let's go in our sandland, it is talking about that I'm going to want the textures coming from this template. I want the texture dirt to be this texture. So if I go in the template, so we have dirt, and the dirt is going to be placed, it'll tell you like where it's getting placed. That's what the template is for. So this is dirt, right? And so on all sides, it's basically going to show dirt, and then on the very top, it's going to show the farmland. So for this, what we want is we are going to want sand from Minecraft, but then we are going to change the top texture into HMH3 and Sandland. Sandland. All right. Now we're going to need to refactor, rename Sand Land Moist refactor. Let's make sure it's in there. So this is going to be sand, and this is going to be HMH3, and then this is going to be Sandland Moist. All right. And like I said, I'm not actually changing anything in the template. That was just trying to show you. So dirt is going to be used on all four sides and the bottom of the block, which should be called sand, but because I'm using the template, it has to be called dirt. And then the top of the block is going to be the custom texture that we'll be making. So let's see if there is an item, which I believe there actually is. And I believe it's going to point to the block. Minecraft model item, and then here if I type in farm, and then we have our music disc far. We're looking for our we don't have an item. Okay, let's make an item model then. New directory. Let's call it item, and then let's move farmland in here. Okay. And then it's just going to say the parent is going to be Minecraft Farmland. That is not true. We're going to look at HMH3, and it's going to be Sandland. So basically what this does is when it is being held in your hand, I want it to just, the parent, I want it to look like this in my hand. And that's what those, when they do this, that makes all the blocks in your hand not give you the 2x2. It would look very weird if it was like that. But that's what gives you the 3D item, because that's just how it's coded. But we have this, and then we are going to want to refactor and rename. I just noticed this. I always try and make a habit and stick to that habit. So I always try and rename the file before I change everything that needs to be changed. That way, if I see something in here, I need to make sure that I know what I have and have not changed already. So clicking on here, everything in here is Sandland, 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 oop, not Bleeding Heart, and then this is all Sandland. So that's all right. So now we have all that done. Now from here we would just need to point. We're gonna need to make some textures. So let's get into the making. Hello everybody, welcome back. It is me, editing me. So today I want to talk to you about a little bit about textures making, and let me tell you, sometimes it is better to leave out the extra details. I kept changing the stones. I didn't know how I wanted to reference them. The only sandstone I could really think of would be like putting like a little shell in there, you know. But I didn't. I wasn't feeling the shell, so I just took out the extra detail. Also, beyond that, I am really glad that this is also like a really like a shorter video. Like this one was really easy compared to some of the other ones. There are some videos that will take up to 6 hours to make, and considering I make a video every day, that is a massive amount of time to just make every day and then spend 6 hours. Because if I do 2 hours recording, 2 hours editing, and then 2 hours of processing, oh my goodness, makes me want to just blow up. But that's fine. I like last night. Well, actually, if you noticed, the hearts video came out. The video from yesterday on Valentine's came out a little bit earlier because I edited it really late. And when it was processing, I went to bed and I woke up and it wasn't processed. It said your processing will start shortly. Bruh, you were supposed to do that like 6 hours ago. But I needed to get to work soon, so I couldn't have just like sat there and waited to and made sure that it was gonna get processed. So I just hoped, and I made a second video, and you didn't even notice all that because by the time I noticed the other one had processed eventually, I just deleted the other one. So it it's fine. It all worked out, but I mean, that out of mind, I'm just glad that this one was shorter. So when I have the shorter ones, I got more time to just chill, vibe, and whatnot. But doing this is, oh my goodness, it's a little stressing, and but I need to be pushed, you know. But beyond that, I'm happy with where I am, and if I feel like it's too much, I'll let you guys know in the future. But as of now, let's get back in the video. All right, now that we have these textures in, let's go into our item, sand tiller, and we are going to go down and we want to change this to mod blocks dot Sandland. And let's go into the Sandland in the registry, and there is one very important thing that we are going to add called dot ticks randomly. Anytime you have a block that changes states because it has ticks on it, you need to put this on there because without it, the plant or whatever you have, it will not update. So for this, the moisture will stay at 0 and will not go up. Even if there's water next to it, it will not go up. And then with our bleeding heart, there is 4 stages to it. If it did not have this ticks randomly, I didn't mention this last time, if you don't have ticks randomly, it'll stay at the 0th stage. So here for this would be age, and then for here, it is moisture. Let's take a look and make sure that everything is looking all nice and swell, and then we can basically close some things up. All right, slash game rule random tick speed. Let's set this to 50. And then let us go in and let's get ourselves a sand tiller. And then we can just start tilling the sand right away. And here, I actually like the drier version better. I think it looks very nice. But here you can tell that it is tilling all of the sand. And then once it gets out of reach of the water, it starts turning to regular sand. If you remember that we put that set to dirt, so we change it to set to sand, and so every time we jump on it, or if we were to place a block on it, it will turn the underneath into sand. So that is all working. So all we need to do here is we need to, let's get some seeds, let's get some potatoes and some carrots, and then let's try and place them. And it doesn't seem like it's working. On here, it'll let me eat them, but it won't place them. Even if I'm in survival, it will not let me place them. This is a but what happened? You know, I copied the farmland exactly. So what the farmland should do, this should also be able to do. The only thing that we changed was the texture, and that doesn't make sense. You know, it says crop block. To a degree, we are right about this. So the Sandland says that if the instance of the world.getBlock state, the position above it is getBlock. If it is a crop block, a stem block, or an attached, then it simply has a crop block. But notice how it says has. That word has means it's already placed on there. And so something about this basically says that there is something else that is putting it on there. And that would most likely be, like, let's look at the carrot for a carrot. Oh my goodness. Spell it wrong one more time. It is in, there's a crop block. It is extending. And it is called carrots block. And if I click on carrots block, it says that it can't be found anywhere. And I know that is absolute ham. that is baloney. It does point somewhere. It just doesn't want to tell me. Even if I was to look up the items at carrots, even if I looked up blocks, all right, and I look up in blocks, and I'm going to control F, and we're going to look up for carrot. It says carrots, and then here it's carrots block. And then you can tell right here it's talking about the crop. So carrots has its own carrots block. So to do this, we would need to basically make our own mod group, but we're gonna do this in another video, one where I'm going to show you a mod crop where it is Minecraft's, where mod crop where it's completely new plant, and then the first thing that we're going to explain is overwriting Minecraft stuff, and we're going to add Minecraft stuff in there. But for now, this was simply talking about just the farm block itself. the next video will be talking about all the things that can be placed on top of a crop. So we're actually talking about farming with items. So that is practically it for this video. The sand block, so far the Sandland does work. The sand tiller works on the Sandland, and that is practically all we needed to do. Now, in the next video, we have to make specialized ideas. Now, usually, when you also make farmland, right, you wouldn't normally make a brand new farmland and then have it not be dirt. I mean, I could see there being a different variant, and that's why that would be the only other case. But if you think about it, you know, when I actually have nether farmland in the mod that I have, and the thing about that is you wouldn't put potatoes on nether farmland. I have it so that you craft or you farm gold on nether farmland. You know, you're like basically smelting the ore, raw ore, and you know. But this, you know, now we have sand. What am I possibly gonna put on sand? You know, I'm gonna put a potato on there. It's possible technically because you do want some sand in your soil, but if it's actually like grainy like sand, all right, your plants are probably gonna die. But that's enough of that rant. Just kind of, you know, just wanted to point that in there. So usually when you are making a farmland block, a brand new farmland block, you are normally going to be making, you would then just make a brand new crop to go with it. But beyond that, if that's not what you're up for, then we can just get into the next video, Minecraft stuff. Anyways, that's all going to be it for this video. So thank you guys so much for watching, and without further ado,